Hello, and welcome to Getting Stitchy. Today, as part of my ongoing series on covering the Brother PQ1500 straight stitch sewing machine, I'm going to show you the differences between this machine and the harp space, or that space that is around the neck, between the neck and the bed of the machine, and the differences between that and a smaller domestic machine that would be more of a beginner machine. And that other machine is a machine that I have, the Brother PRW5055. So stick around and find out something new about the Brother PQ1500. Alright, now that I have your attention about comparing a couple of sewing machines. So it actually turns out that the designation for this particular small machine is the CS5055PRW. And this little brother machine is what I got for myself as the first real sewing machine I bought myself. I'd always had hand-me-downs from my mom because my mom was a very accomplished seamstress. This machine, as you can see, it's a lot smaller than this machine, but it's also a lot cheaper than this machine. When I bought this machine, it was about, I want to say, $135. It might be around $150 now. This machine was about $600 when I bought it. So what's the big deal? Why that 400 and something difference in price, you know, $450? Well, I'll tell you why. As a quilter, you really want to have space right here. This area right here is the harp. That's commonly what we call the harp or the throat of the machine. And this is where you're going to be fitting your quilts in order to work them. So, just to break down, because you can see there is a difference between these two machines, but you don't understand just how dramatic the difference is until you crunch the numbers. For the CS5055PRW Brother sewing machine, and it's still a machine I like to have. It's got all these stitch functions. I can actually do zigzag stitches, which is really handy for things like applique. For this machine, the harp space, it's kind of got this circle, so what I did to calculate this is I took that as a half circle, and I measured from about here to get myself a diameter. So that diameter was 4.5 inch diameter on that. And then in centimeters for our metric friends, that would be 11.4 centimeters. And so the area of the circle is going to be pi r squared. R is the radius. So that 4.5 inch diameter, I would divide that by 2 and get 2.75, and then square the 2.75 and then multiply it by 3.14159 is what I do for pi. When I do that for the half circle, I get 7.95 inches as the total area of the half circle. And then there's basically going to be a right triangle left over for the rest of that particular harp space. The right triangle, I'm going to measure by this, I'm going to measure by that. So the height by the width or the length, however you want to think of that. For my right triangle, that was 4.5 was my length here, and 2.75 was my height. And that was actually being kind of generous. It looked a little closer to 2.5 inches. And in centimeters, that would be 11.4 for the length, and that would be 7 centimeters for the height. That right triangle, you multiply that together, and that ends up becoming 6.1875 inches for the right triangle. Sorry, I don't have that one calculated on the centimeters. And even that doesn't look right. Anyway, but my total area, if I add the half circle area and I add that right triangle area, ended up being 14.14 inches total area, and then that translated into centimeters was 35.9 centimeters total area for the Brother CS50 multifunction machine. Hello again. Alright, so for the Brother PQ1500SL straight stitch sewing machine for the harp space or the throat space on that. Nice thing about this machine, it was easier to calculate because it's basically just a rectangle. This ended up being 7 inches across the bed, so it's 7 inches wide or 7 inches long, depending on how you want to think of that. And then it was 5.75 inches tall. Or in centimeters, that's 17.8 inches long and 14.6 inches tall. Or, not inches, 14.6 centimeters tall. And the total area of this would be 40.25 inches total area, and the total area in centimeters is 102.24 centimeters. So, in case you got a little confused with all the numbers that I just threw out at you when I was doing my calculations, this machine is 40.25 inches total area for the throat and 102.25 total centimeters for the throat. That smaller machine over there is 14.14 inches for the total area of that throat, or 35.9 centimeters for the total area of the throat. So if you divide, I mean, you can already tell this is much more space, and you're going to have a much easier time quilting up larger pieces in this machine. But just to give an extra little bit of calculation, because I love doing that, the difference ended up being about 2.85 difference. This was 2.85 times more space than that one. It's not to say that that's a bad machine. It's actually a great machine. It's got all of these stitch functions. There's some really pretty stitches on there, and if you want to do bindings where you have one of these fancy little stitches where it kind of looks like a little vine with leaves, that's a great machine. But if you want a machine that can handle a twin-size quilt, a full-size quilt, a queen-size quilt, even a king-size quilt, this is a great machine. And you can get this machine and not have to bother sending your stuff out to a long armor. Now maybe you want to send your pieces out to a long armor because you want an edge-to-edge thing. Maybe you're just not into messing with the free motion work. Maybe that's just not your thing. You know, different tastes. But if you do like to do the free motion work, or if you think that you want to get into it, and especially if you've gotten into doing free motion and you've become really frustrated with how small your little domestic machine is that you picked up for $150, $200, something like that, it is well worth it to upgrade to a machine like this. You will not be sorry that you did. I love this machine. It is great. I can actually do so many things that I couldn't do. And just immediately when I took it out of the box and set it up, I was amazed. I mean, one of the things I did for fun, just as kind of a difference, is this is a pretty sizable coffee cup. It fits in the whole area. You know, it's like, I don't really know why you'd want to put a coffee cup there, but it's just, I don't know. But it's a great demonstration of how big this is. I mean, this, come on, it's not going anywhere, okay? You would need like a little bitty tea time for little girls teacup to fit into that throat. I mean, not that I would want to be sewing with this right here, you know, probably gonna make messes, wouldn't be a good idea. But just to keep it in perspective, I mean, you can fit that right there. So I hope you've enjoyed this comparison between the Brother PQ1500SL and the CS5055PRW, also by Brother, and the comparison in the throat space, and hopefully this will help you make an informed decision on a future machine that you might want to own someday. Thanks for watching, and please like and subscribe if you like this kind of content. If you want me to keep producing this, definitely throw a comment in there. That really helps as well. And stay tuned for more videos. I have more videos on the Brother, so definitely stay tuned. I will keep offering up videos for as long as I can think of topics to talk about. Thank you.